How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm good.
It's Thursday night. I think we're a mile high. I did a few dabs. Did you do a dab?
I didn't.
Why not?
It just seemed like too much work
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah. It takes some effort.
It does.
I've been joking. The last week or so, I've been out of oil, so I've been compensating with extracts, and I've slept very well. I'll just say that. So there's a lot going on in the world this week. A lot of good stuff, it looks like, in our news. I don't know. Did you have a chance to read our news?
I did.
Very good. I told you I'm going to make you talk more tonight, so I'm just going to end every sentence with a, what'd you think? No, I'm kidding. First and foremost, we want to welcome back John Doe Radio. They were here in the get-go way back almost a year ago when I started. We've got our big anniversary show coming up soon. Tim Martin's back. He's got a co-host, and I have to be honest, I haven't had a chance to catch their show yet because I've been working. But we want to welcome them back and encourage everybody to listen. It's every day, which is awesome, from 11 to 1. Give you something to do while you're at work, sitting at your desk, bored. Just put your headphones on. Your boss will never know. Plug them in. It's all good. So I think we'll start locally. And I won't start with task force stuff or DUID stuff. Okay. We'll spare people for a few minutes. Craigslist Cannabis is what I'm going to call this. There's an article that a friend of mine just posted on Facebook. A 22-year-old man here in Denver was arrested for selling cannabis over Craigslist. Let me rephrase that. He was taking donations, quote unquote, for delivery of cannabis. And the problem that I see with this story is he was arrested. He sold to undercovers, number one, which, whatever. But he was arrested with 3.5 ounces. 64 allows you 1 ounce. It allows you to hand other people 1 ounce. It doesn't allow me to hand you 3.5 ounces. I mean, we're talking about a gray area anyway. Sitting in the work group, we went back and forth on this issue, on a few issues like private clubs, delivery, that type of thing. I feel personally that delivery can be perfectly legal if you stay within the perimeters of 64. Our first guest, we'll probably get into a little bit of those opinions with you, but then after you, Rob Corey, I'm sure he'll have an opinion or two on that one. So we'll kind of put that one on hold a little bit and bore people just for a minute with, task force stuff. I have a little bit of insider information to share. It looks like, and it's not public yet, so maybe we have a scoop here. What we accomplished in the task force basically was combined into a professionally, legally written paper that looks better than what we did. And it's being sent to the legislature, and it looks like there's going to be 3 senators and 3 representatives taking care of this. It's going to be a special committee. I learned today. I actually learned some of the members of the committee, but I can't announce that yet. We'll wait for the government to do that. I don't want them to come kick my door in. So hopefully, it sounds like I will say there's a couple members, I believe, from the task force that really during the process showed a lot of, common sense. They were very civil in a lot of their decisions. So let's hope they carry that forth. And, I'll be there working with them. For those who don't know, I registered last week as a lobbyist. I'm currently a nonprofit lobbyist for the Colorado Springs Medical Cannabis Council. And, in the last week, I've been at the Capitol most every day, and I've been able to set up meetings with all of the Appropriations Committee at this point, minus 1 or 2 who I don't feel like it's worth my time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I'll just say it, Bob Gardner, he's also in the Judiciary Committee, and Representative Gardner takes a very hardline stance against cannabis. I stopped in his office in good faith, I guess yesterday, and the rep that he shares an office with, we had a great conversation, and he's not really our friend either, and I won't mention his name out of respect. But he said, can you email me these studies? After that conversation, it opened the door. But to digress, Representative Gardner, during the first hearing on the DUID legislation, at the end of the day, like railed on Waller and Fields. He's like, I don't want you to take this personally, but this bill's not hard enough. We need zero tolerance. We needed it years ago. I'm like, wow, really? Why don't you just throw your ignorance out on the table for everyone to see, with all due respect? You know, our big issue, which we'll talk about again in a little bit, with the DUID is the 5 nanograms. You know, there's no science behind that. So here we have a representative saying, never mind the 5 nanograms, let's drop it down to 0. So if you use cannabis at all, you take the bus. I don't care. You know, it's crazy.
Very crazy.
So that's going on with that. The DUID, I kind of skipped around a little bit. The DUID will be going to appropriations, it looks like in 2 weeks. So what we need everyone to do, it doesn't matter if you live in Colorado or New Zealand, send our representatives emails urging them to use common sense moving forward. What's happening right now in Colorado is and will be a model for so many other states looking to legalize. So it's very important that you folks are also engaged in this process, that you're having that dialogue with my representative, with yours, with Elizabeth's, with Sam's. You know, again, Colorado is the way other states are going. Please help us.
Yay.
Shameless plug. To jump really quickly back to the DUID, again, that's my main focus at the Capitol right now for the council. We will always oppose anything that's per se until we have a limit. And for those out of state, to bring you up to speed, if you haven't heard any of the last 4 shows that we've talked about it, what they're trying to do in Colorado with HB 13-1114, I feel like I had to count that out, is pass a permissible inference and a 5 nanogram limit. And their argument is that the permissible inference makes it all okay, that you can go to court and argue it. And as our first guest will tell us tonight, it's not cheap to go to court and argue anything, anywhere. So that's great if you're, you know, somebody who's got 10, 20 grand laying around to go fight it. But, I mean, basically what it is a rubber stamp legislation that makes every cannabis user, patient, or chronic recreational user guilty of a DUI every time they get in their car, whether they've smoked or not. And, I mean, that's wrong. You know, the other side to that is the blood draw. You know, I have found a lot of support this week from Republicans on that side of it. You know, it's a civil liberties issue. You pull you over and stick a needle in your arm. I mean, what are we coming to? And we're living in a country that does that. You know, it's scary. Okay, we got to quit being scary, don't we?
Indeed.
No more scary. So we'll skip around a little bit, and well, this is scary too. I'm sorry.
Jump the gun.
I know, right? I was trying to be all positive. So it's not really scary because they're retired. They don't really mean anything to us. Former DEA heads again this week came out with the International Narcotics Control Board, and I'm a little vague with them. I'm going to guess that they're part of the whole treaty that we keep using as an excuse to keep everything illegal. They all came out, you know, and basically said that Washington and Colorado are the devil, and the federal government should basically put a big fence around us and not feed us and wait for us all to die from you know, cannabis overdoses. So that's a long story short. I hate to give them much acknowledgement, but that's the kind of stuff we have to fight back against. I mean, it's not just a national level, it's international. So until we come back against folks like this, they're going to keep doing it. Can't let that happen. Positive. Yay. This is a Supreme Court decision. We all know there's been, you know, 1 or 2 pounds of cannabis run across the ocean over the years. Maybe a little cocaine, maybe a little heroin. You know, they don't always fly it in, I guess is what I'm saying. Sometimes they use boats. There was the U.S. Oh, God, I will never, ever pronounce this name. You want to try?
Uh-oh, what is it?
Check it out in the second highlighted area, and I'll talk while you're looking at it. So there was a case where they confiscated a lot of drugs. I believe it was cocaine, if I'm correct. Elizabeth stole my article, so I'm not sure. But anyway, the Supreme Court basically said that it was unconstitutional for them to be searched in international waters, which really hampers the drug war. I mean, I lived in Florida. Well, one aspect of the drug war, I should say. I lived in Florida for about a decade, and my God, you can't drop a penny without seeing a Border Patrol agent or Coast Guard or someone patrolling waters for boats full of drugs. Florida has been notorious throughout history for that. I know I have an aunt who's been there for probably 30, almost 40 years at this point. And when I was a kid, she used to tell me stories. When she first moved there, they would go fishing out in the canals. And she's like, it was an everyday occurrence when we were out there to come across guys in bass boats with like M16s. And she's like, it was all good. I asked her, would you get scared? And she'd be like, nah, we'd just look the other way and keep going. And it's, mind your business. And Florida for decades was run like that. And because of that, we now have what I would refer to as an overabundance of law enforcement in that state, and really Border Patrol, again, and Coast Guard, and for the waterways. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because, if that has a repercussion on future cases, we'll see. What do you think? You want to go smuggle some drugs across the ocean now?
I'm down for the boat, maybe, but
I got nothing to do this weekend. I like Florida. The beach is nice.
I just went to Florida. I could go back.
I could use beach sun time. So I'm going to skip this one because it's negative, so we're just going to put that aside for a minute. California. Come on, guys. You can do this. You guys are barely leading in the polls. I know you're going to try to legalize again. There's a new poll out that shows 54% in favor while 43% are opposing. You guys really need to sway some voters. I'm worried about you, and I love you to death, but I saw what happened a few years ago with the infighting, and you guys had, 65% support, I believe, or something. It was pretty high. I don't remember the exact number. So I just wanted to throw that out as encouragement to be active, organize people, get out there and educate the people who know nothing about cannabis. I'll tell you a little story about that, because, we like to get sidetracked.
We love that.
So I was on the elevator today, and being all official, I have my little name badge that says my name.
Oh, you have that now. Okay.
I know.
Cute.
It is. I feel like I'm in, junior high or something sometimes with it. But the lady on the elevator, there's always kids at the Capitol field trip day, almost every day. And so there's a chaperone with a group of kids, and, she asked me, she's asking where something was, and I told her, and she's like, oh, do you work here? And I was like, no. I said, well, I'm a lobbyist. I don't know what that means.
I'm just here every day. I don't work here, though.
Well, and that's kind of what she said. She's like, well, you do work here. And then she looks at my name tag, and she's like, oh, Cannabis, like that. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. I've got to hold 2 more seconds on the elevator with you. This should be interesting. And it actually came out really positive. She made the comment that, well, kids, do you know what that is? That's what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, marijuana and how it's legal for adults now. And then she looks at me with kind of a smirk and says, and my 5th graders don't think it should be legal. And for me, that's an open door. So I wasn't getting off on the 2nd floor, but when they got off on the 2nd floor, I got off on the 2nd floor. And her and I talked for a good 5 minutes. Long story short, I educated her on how legalizing and regulating actually was one of the big purposes was to protect the children. I think walking away from that conversation, she had a completely different outlook on life. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, speaking of outlooks, I guess we have to, go take a break and look for something outside.
Adventure time.
Yes. So, we're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back with our first guest. We, from time to time, like to do patient stories, if you will. Rick started as a patient, and that progressed, and I'll just premise your interview by saying you were probably one of the pioneer cases in Colorado, for Amendment 20. I think you may have been one of the first test cases. So I'm excited.
No, I think I was the second.
Okay, well, let's split hairs.
Well, Robert Corey will tell you, he was the
meaning
second.
That you paved the way for a lot of patients, and I'm really excited to hear the story and kudos on that. So we'll be right back. Stick with us on iCannabisRadio.com's Overgrow the Radio. Peace.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
This is Jessica Asplund with the Crested Butte Wellness Center and the Craig Apothecary. I'd like to invite you into either of our locations to see the difference compassion makes. With everything from sublingual tablets, gluten-free products, and a growing variety of edibles, there is sure to be something right for everyone. We carry only top-shelf, organically grown cannabis at affordable prices for everyone. Stop in and see us at our Crested Butte location at 329 Bellevue Avenue or at our Craig location at 611 Breeze Street.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Interested in the amazing benefits of CBD? Check out Dixie X Hemp CBD Wellness Products at www.dixiex.com. Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Hello, everyone. We're back from our break. We're here with our guest, Rick Wainwright.
Yeah, I was running on grass. No, actually, I was packing a bowl, so that's why I just threw stuff to you. I got all busy.
You needed like 5 extra seconds.
I did.
Stall time.
I did.
5,
I was
4,
spilling
3, 2,
crumbs
1.
everywhere. It was bad.
Scrimmlins.
Welcome back, Miss Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hello. So, yes, we're joined by Mr. Rick Wainwright.
I know that's
I
like
always
a mouthful.
do when there's an R and a W. I always do that. It never fails. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to meet you. You and I have been Facebook friends for a bit. It always amazes me, the folks that I've known on Facebook for years, what's Sam breaking? The activists that I meet on Facebook that I know for quite some time before we ever actually meet face to face. So it's always a pleasure. So as I premised before our break, you've got in my opinion, a really interesting story. I'm going to let you kind of jump in from the very get-go. And first and foremost, you found cannabis really at about the same time Colorado legalized it. You were using it as medicine already. So I want you to tell us about that. Tell us how it helps you, why it helps you, and then, of course, your ordeal, if you will.
Well, I broke my back several times. The first time was pretty bad. I broke L3 through L5, S1, S2, and broke my tailbone. Broke my shoulder, broke my leg at the same time, so really messed myself up. During that process, I was going through surgeries, trying to just get out of pain. And so the surgeries I went through just was not working. I was on so many medications, and I guess I was a complete jerk while I was on them, man. Well, I was in pain all the time. I could never get out of pain, even when I was sleeping. And it was to the point where I guess when I talked to you back then, you couldn't even understand what I would say to you because I was slurring my words so bad. And
Sure.
well, I finally got to the point where the prescription pills gave me a heart attack, and I had to go to the hospital, and it came down to the doctor was saying, well, you got a choice to make here because it was prescription pills that gave you the heart attack, and you can't take them anymore if you want to live. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, man, I'm still in pain. What am I going to do? I mean, I literally broke down right then and there. I mean, because I was just lost. Well, my stepson comes to me, and he goes, Dad, I want you to meet this guy. And he takes medical marijuana, and he thinks he can help you. Now, I've been smoking pot all my life, and I was thinking, medical marijuana, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, well, fine. If anything, I'll go over and get high. So, I mean, didn't know nothing about medical marijuana. So I went over there, and, well, this guy basically ended up saving my life with medical marijuana, got me off the prescription pills. Of course, I had to go through the withdrawals and everything like that, but, it sure made it a lot easier because of the cannabis. And once I got off the pills, they started showing me how to medicate myself, how to become self-independent. And so, it was a lot of trial, a lot of work. And but I finally I was able to take care of myself finally. So once I made a deal with this guy. He goes, I'm going to help you out, and I'm not going to charge you. He goes, but what I'm going to do is when you get a chance to help somebody else out, you're going to take that opportunity and you're going to pay it forward for them. Awesome. And that's going to be my payment. I was like, all right, fine, I can do that. So I became a caregiver, and actually became pretty good because, I mean, I had 30 patients, had 20 more on the way. And I was doing just fine, just with a one-man operation, and but it got to the point where after so many patients, I was like, okay, I have to open up a store because I don't have the room to grow for all these patients anymore. So I tried to compensate for that, and I changed my grow. All right, well, in doing that, I changed to the Sea of Green. All right, now, I was licensed for 600 and some odd plants. When I got rated, I had 226 plants in my house. So as far as I was concerned, I was well underneath my numbers. Okay, but the cops don't see color. They see black and white only. They see one patient, 6 plants. That's all you're supposed to have. Oh, you have 30 patients? Well, you're only supposed to have 180 plants. Well, that's not the way it works.
And hey, I mean, to jump in, that's absolutely correct. Most of the cases I've seen in Colorado in particular have been just that, where that's exactly their mindset. They put the burden of innocence on the patient.
Well,
it shouldn't be.
Right. And, I'd been told throughout this whole time that as long as I could prove that I was a bona fide caregiver and prove to them that I would not be prosecuted. Mm-hmm. Yet there I was, going to court, being charged with cultivation and child abuse. Now the child abuse, so what had happened was, because of me breaking my back and my wife working, I was the one that had to get my kids ready for school and out onto the bus. And one morning my son came to me asking me to sign this paper so he could transfer classes. He wouldn't really tell me what it was about, so I had to grill him a little bit. He finally told me it was over a bully, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll sign the paper. It was a legitimate excuse. So I couldn't find a pen down in my room, and so I had to run upstairs to find a pen. I found one. I go back downstairs. I sign the paper. I give him a hug and kiss goodbye. He goes to school. I'm thinking, okay, well, now it's time for me to start my, my chores. And, several hours later, I get a call from the school counselor saying that my son had been arrested by the security police that were on campus for smoking marijuana. And he said he got it from you. Whoa, wait a minute, what? Yeah, no. For one, he was only 13.
Well, and even if he were older, if you were a parent, if my parent were like a quote-unquote cool parent and gave me roaches, I'd be really pissed off. If you're my dad and you can't give me a nice nug, we got an issue, buddy.
Well, he just wasn't old enough yet as far as I was concerned. Sure. And, so really it was that statement there that brought the legal firestorm upon me. So the school, I don't know, counselor, whatever he was telling me, well, because you're a medical marijuana patient and your son got caught with roaches, we got to call social services and the police. I'm thinking, oh, God, great. Here we go, and so I was like, I called Robert Corey and told him the deal, and so he was like, well, we'll have to wait to see what happens. Well, about 2 weeks later, I was out looking. I should have stated this before. I had, several months prior, I went and got a dispensary license and got my business paperwork, got it all filed with the state and everything like that. So I was out looking for a building for a dispensary at that time. And we were done for that day, and we were heading home, and man, we pull up, and there's just a massive amounts of guys in my yard, man, and I mean big guys, and I'm like, oh God, there's the cops.
I know what those are. That's not the Denver Broncos in my front yard at all. That's the police.
So I get out of my car, and I mean instantly they all swarm over to me, and they circle me, and they're like, Mr. Wainwright. I'm like, yes. And they're like, where's your son? I'm like, what do you mean, where's my son? You heard us, where's your son? I'm like, he's in school. And they were like, what do you mean he's in school? I'm like, well, it's a school day. I mean, well, see, they thought
during the week.
Well, see, they thought that he had gotten suspended over that incident, which he did. But they had told us that if we had taken him to like 2 different classes and got these signatures, that they would let him back into school sooner than the suspension or the expulsion. Okay, sure. So I was like, well, I'm not going to just not let him go to school. So, we went ahead and we went and played their game. We got the signatures, and I got him back into school. So he was back in school when they came, but, they didn't realize this yet. And
they sometimes, I'll be nice. Sometimes they can be a little slow, just like me. That's how I'm nice, because I'm always slow.
Well,
so when was it when they came to your house, they were clearly not looking for your son. They were coming after you.
Oh, yes. They were. And there was this one guy that looked familiar to me. I couldn't place him at the time because, I'm scared at this time.
Sure.
Because they already told me, okay, we're North Metro Drug Task Force Agency, and we're here to see your grow. Okay.
I have to ask if the guy from American Weed was one of your cops. He may not have been around.
No, he was a Salazar.
Yeah,
Ken Salazar's younger.
Well, that guy,
just like him.
You know who I'm talking about, the guy with the goatee?
Yes. But
Looks
no.
like he has his hair painted on, and he totally... I was just curious. Sorry, continue.
No. So he was like, we're going to see your grow. And this one cop steps up, and he it's like, look, man, we need to go into your house, and we need to look to see if you're growing in your bathroom or your living room or wherever, you know. And if we walk in there and we don't see anything like that, we're going to just walk out and we're going to leave. Thinking, all right, well, you know, I was a business, so I really didn't have nothing to hide. Okay, so on that part, I wasn't really scared. You know, I mean, I knew how they could twist everything, but I was thinking, well, heck, I'm cool because I'm a business. I'm well within my numbers. I'm, you know, following the rules, so I have nothing to hide. So I pulled out my keys. Now, they did not have a warrant. Now, in court, the judge had said that because I pulled my keys out of my pocket and started to go for that doorknob, that gave him the consent to enter my house.
Not to cut you off really quickly, we got to take a quick break, but we'll come back and jump right back in right there, because it always that's actually a good spot for me to jump in and be rude, because judges, it always kills me how they put their own perception to the law. That would be the perfect example of that. That's not probable cause. I don't think if you got 9 out of 10 judges together in a room, I'm going to guess 9 would say no on that one. So we'll be right back. We got to pay bills on Overgrow the Radio. We love you.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Indispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, Indispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. Indispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover Indispensary. Westside location at 3044 West Colorado and Eastside location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. Indispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
Green Monster Glass, a full selection of glass and glass accessories, as well as all of your smoking needs. Stock your dispensary or smoke shop with reasonably priced glass from Green Monster Glass. Green Monster Glass is locally owned and operated. Find us on Facebook or call Daryl at 719-217-5380. That's 719-217-5380.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Interested in the amazing benefits of CBD? Check out Dixie X Hemp CBD Wellness Products at www.dixiex.com.
I love when I get to come back to Hits from the Bong.
And I didn't realize that was every week. I'm liking it now too.
Yeah. I picked the right one, the right intros to come back on. You know, it
That's
fits
the
me.
vibe.
It's suiting. It suits me well. So yeah, we're back with Rick Wainwright. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Before we jump back in with you, I'm gonna talk about our wonderful sponsors because, well, they're wonderful. Dixie Elixirs, they'll be back in at the end of the month. We had quite the show with them last time. We could not take questions or calls because we got so many. It was ridiculous. We love you guys. If you can tune in at the end of the month, we'll try to get some questions. If you want to email them ahead of time to me through Facebook or at stickman200210 I'd be happy to filter those and get those on the air. And by filter, I mean censor them. Absolutely. So real quick, Crested Butte Wellness. They've got 2 stores. They've got one also in Craig. Sam?
Apothecary.
I've since learned how to say that, but I just like to have Sam jump in every once in a while and talk, so it's the perfect opportunity. And Green Monster Glass, I hung out with those guys a couple of weeks ago at the meet and greet. Thanks to Daryl, he got me there in his 4-wheel drive during a snowstorm. Miss Elizabeth joined me, and we had a wonderful evening. I unintentionally sort of ditched you that night, though. I felt really bad.
Well, you got pulled away on
Yeah.
stage like always.
Yeah, we were outside having a cigarette, and I was supposed to be speaking.
Uh-huh.
They were like, where's Stickman? Anybody seen Stickman? I'm like, oh, shit. Here I am. Sorry, dude, smoke break. But, yeah. So, Indispensary is in Colorado Springs, one of the greatest dispensaries on earth. Great people, great family. Kind of leads me into the next sort of their sponsor entourage. Looking for a good word there. I don't think that was it. The Realm of Caring, which is that same family. The Realm of Caring, what they do is they get oil to patients, mostly cancer patients and children with Dravet syndrome. If you are a dispensary and you have trim laying around and you're able to donate, get in touch with them, realmofcaring.com. And they need all the help they can get. The more oil they can make, the more patients they can help. Free of charge, and yeah, do it. Independent Records. Everybody knows Independent Records. I actually had some email conversation with the owner this week. Yet again, another amazing family. She actually showed up to my last task force meeting, and it was really cool to look out in the crowd and see a friend and a friendly face. You know, of course, all my activist friends were there, but she's not usually at my meetings. So Independent Records is all up and down the Front Range. I think they've got 7 locations. They do music, videos, glass, everything you can imagine for the perfect weekend. Go check them out. And Sam, we need to thank Sam more. Sam's our producer. Sam does a lot behind the scenes. He doesn't really just sit over there and do dabs all night, like I like to tease him about. So thank you for all your hard work, sir.
You're welcome.
And Miss Elizabeth, she sits over there and looks pretty and smiles, and I think she's liking radio. Maybe are you liking radio?
It's more comfortable than the first time.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, you're fitting in well. So welcome back, sir. We'll get back to our conversation with you. So when we left for break, I had determined anyway, maybe the listeners too, that you got one of the judges that from the word go really didn't like you.
Well, that's what it seemed like in the beginning, especially through my motions hearings and all the other hearings that came along with it. The judge always seemed like he was on the prosecution side. But, man, I tell you, man, once that trial started, it was a whole different judge up there. And I kind of knew right away that judge was kind of, not on my side, but, he gave the impression that it's like, why is this case even here? Why did this case even come to this point?
Did you, sorry to cut you off, did you start with Rob? Was he your first attorney?
Yes, because when I started up my dispensary and we were talking about, or when we were first talking about the dispensary, before we even opened it up, we knew that we needed a good lawyer to represent our company. And, so we went and talked to Rob, and we had determined right then and there that, we wanted this man, if anything went wrong, I mean, because it came down to, what's more important, your freedom or, when it really happened, because I had planned for not if I get raided, I planned on when I get raided, because back then it was, turbulent times, especially for people wanting to open up dispensaries, and you were really taking a huge risk back then.
Well, and let me to get sidetracked a little bit there for our audience, because they don't know. This was back right after Amendment 20 passed. It was right after that, so there were no guidelines, there were no regulations for dispensaries at the time, so it was absolutely a gray area, and anyone who took that leap was a pioneer. So to bring on counsel like the guy who just walked in is probably, or was probably, just something that went along with business. I mean, I'm assuming that was your thought. I'm opening this business. I need a good attorney to get my back.
Well, not just a good attorney. We had told ourselves that if we're going to do this during this time, we need the best attorney. And there was just absolutely no two ways about it. And everything that we had researched on Mr. Corey, just backed up our...
Well, see, I have about three or four attorneys in Denver that I have to give a tie because they're all friends of mine. And if I were ever in a pinch, I'd call all you guys. So in my mind, there's four best attorneys in Denver. And then there's four best attorneys in the Springs, too.
Well, I only know one of them, and, this is the man I'll be turning to as long as I'm in this industry, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to introduce you in a second. We're keeping you quiet. I've watched Rob a few times now in court, and I've always been impressed. It says something that you're saying that, because this, again, was 10 years ago. I'm going to guess that Rob didn't have all the cases under his belt at
Wait,
that
this
point
was only almost a year and a half ago.
Oh,
2009 was when I got busted.
I'm sorry. I spoke wrong. I'm sorry. A few years ago. But that being said, again, a lot of his bigger cases, maybe I'm wrong, more of his highlighted cases that I've seen have been in the last few years. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
We'll bring you in right there. How are you, Rob Corey?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It's good to be on Stickman Radio. That's what we call it amongst ourselves.
I call it Elizabeth Radio. She's our new co-host. She runs the show here now. She's
the circus.
She's the boss.
Looking mighty green over there.
Indeed.
There was the theme there. We talked about that. It was coordinated, if you will.
The green theme.
So we brought you in the middle. We were talking to Rick about the case, and actually you showed up at the perfect time, because we're just now kind of, we were talking motions, I guess, is where we left off. So I'll let you two kind of collaborate and both talk.
We kind of left off about where I talked about they didn't come to my house with a warrant, but because of me taking out my keys and making the motion towards the lock, that was basically consent right there. And I'm like, okay, whatever, that wasn't really on my mind, because they had told me, we just want to come in and look, see if you're not growing in your bathroom or anything like that, and if we don't see anything, then we're going to leave. So I'm like, all right, fine. I let them in. They went and they did their search. There wasn't nothing in the bathroom growing anywhere else in my house, but they didn't leave. They wanted to see all my files, and they wanted to see my roach jar. Now that kind of threw me off, because
big time drug kingpins save their roaches. That's what they do, right? I mean, give me a break.
Well, before you came in, I gave him a hard time that, if obviously his son was much younger than you would ever condone use, but say I was a 19-year-old and the same situation happened, I would be really pissed at my dad if he gave me roaches and didn't give me a nice nut. That would suck. So I'm sorry, continue.
No, that's okay.
Rob,
let me chime in here.
Please.
Having a client like Mr. Wainwright here, I mean, it was an honor, you know, because I do this a lot. This is what I do for my living, and most people want to take a plea, which is fine. I don't disagree with that at all. That's an appropriate thing. But, you know, this gentleman comes to me. I mean, he's innocent through and through. Every single act he took is the act of an innocent man. I mean, it literally is David versus Goliath here. You know, he's got the full weight of the justice system leaning on him, trying to make him take a plea. You know, he's got this lawyer, and he does not buckle. He had every chance to buckle. He had every chance to give in, and he didn't do it. And honestly, I really believe this, that Rick Wainwright, the fact that he had the guts and the heart to go to trial and win a month before the DA, Don Quick, was trying for a 4-year extension on his term limit. And then, of course, the case did get some publicity, and the voters of Adams County said, you know what, sorry, Don Quick, but you're not going to get an additional 4 years on your term. and that was close. It was a point or two, and a point or two that he lost, and I have to think that Rick Wainwright was part of that. You know, was part of the fact that we have a new DA up there, and, you know, time will tell whether he's better or not, but, I mean, he can't be much worse than Don Quick. He could be better, he could be the same. There's no place in the universe where he's that much worse. So I mean, it just goes to show us that one person standing up and taking a stand and believing in what is right really can have an impact. And
I'll just say that Adams County, I think, is comparable to El Paso County, only that I think El Paso County is wishing that would happen there. Our only issue down there is we need someone to run against Dan May. We can't get anyone to run for DA. No one wants to.
And it should be a Republican in a primary, honestly. I mean,
absolutely.
You know,
very
a Democrat's
conservative
not going to
town.
win down there.
Sure.
And there's a lot of analogies there. You know, Adams and El Paso, and I would say joined by Larimer, are probably the 3 worst counties in our state as far as their DA attitudes about marijuana. And again, that might change in Adams. I mean, the jury's still out.
How's Jeffco? Is Jeffco not in that list?
Jeffco's a little quieter, and it's weird, you know, because you know there are people growing all over those mountains. I mean,
well, you know what's funny is
a mountain county, and they're all over the place.
Off the air, I'll tell you the name, but I grew up. I went to wrestling camp. I've known one of their DAs since I was 4 years old. Did more drugs with the guy than we can talk about on live radio. But it's just really ironic because I hear from our colleagues here in the office that he now gives speeches about anti-drug stuff and how evil they are. So
that is amazing.
Yeah. I want to digress really quickly and ask, since we kind of skipped this before you got, or talked about this before you got here, with the police entering his house on that premise, I made the joke that if you put 10 judges in a room, I'm going to guess 8 to 9 of them would probably say that's a no-go. Is that common? Or can they really go on that?
Unfortunately, the Fourth Amendment has been whittled down to almost a meaningless level because there are so many exceptions to it. I mean, they can say, well, we feared destruction of evidence, so that's an exception to the Fourth Amendment. We feared that somebody would flee. That's an exception. We feared officer safety. Maybe there's somebody in there that we don't know about. I mean, that's the problem we find ourselves in our country now, is that, you know, we had the Fourth Amendment at one point in time, and unfortunately the courts have whittled that down to just about nothing. I mean, it's very hard to get evidence suppressed in a case. You can try, and it's a good effort, but it happens in a minority of the cases. Unfortunately, our better bet these days is to rely on a jury. And thank God for a jury of 12 Colorado citizens who come in there. These are people with common sense, working class people. Their minds are not clouded like judges and lawyers who are jaded and cynical and live with this every day. They tend to be smart, and they look at somebody like Rick and, you know, they say not guilty. And I mean, that is a beautiful moment when a jury comes in there and says that. You know, I mean, it's just it's ecstatic. And judges don't. I mean, they do not enforce the Fourth Amendment, and it's been rendered a nullity. And unfortunately, the same thing with Amendment 20 itself. You can't get a case dismissed pre-trial on an Amendment 20 theory. And it's too bad, and just thank God we have those jurors out there.
Well, absolutely, and I think you actually kind of premised something we'll get into with you later on in the show. When I want to talk DUID with you a little bit before you get out of here tonight. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it in your cases. We've seen it in most cases I've followed. The juries here in Colorado have common sense.
You had a little bit of insider knowledge about one jury that I recall down in a county that shall remain nameless. I think I remember you made a prediction about something that was going to transpire that did transpire, consistent with your prediction.
Yeah.
I was very proud of you, Stickman.
Well, thank you, sir. You know, I felt very honored. I got to sit in with you and another attorney and help answer some questions during that. I believe it was that trial, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we've definitely seen a change of attitude, and it's not just in Colorado; it's nationwide. You know, there's been nullifications across the country in places that you just wouldn't even imagine, where juries are like, "Get out of here," and that's a great sign. And this
wasn't even nullification, honestly. I mean, the victories we've had are straight up under the law. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think any jury I've ever had has nullified the law. And the ironic thing is, actually, it's the prosecutors who are seeking nullification. They really are. They're asking juries to disregard the law, which is before 64, the law was marijuana for medical use is legal. You know, prosecutors want juries to ignore that, and now with 64 being in place, prosecutors are wanting juries to ignore the fact that marijuana is now equalized with alcohol. You sell alcohol kegs out of your garage without a liquor license. Are you looking at criminal charges? Of course you're not. You're looking at an administrative process where there's a fine only. If they even care, like when was the last time somebody's convicted for or even charged for selling, you know, a case of beer? It does happen.
The only place that I've run across criminal convictions for alcohol is, you know, I've hiked the Appalachian Trail, quite a few times. So I have what I consider family all through Appalachia. And we drink moonshine. I'm not going to lie. Every time I go there, I enjoy some good apple pie or, you know, whatever the flavor of the month is, if you will.
It is an American tradition.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our country was founded on moonshine, if you will.
Yeah.
Moonshine and cannabis, ironically.
Hey, we got a lot in common.
But yeah, I mean, there is a heavy enforcement in places like Virginia and Tennessee. But, you know, you get out of Appalachia, and it's all good. Before we're going to run out short on time before we get to everything I want to. When they raided you, they took how many plants?
They didn't take any.
Okay, we didn't get the details, I guess is what I'm saying. So let's get the juice of your case.
All right.
So when you were under arrest, what the charge was? Cultivation.
Cultivation. And I was actually never really under arrest. They basically told me that they were going to go talk to the DA and they'll determine what they were going to do. And then about 2 weeks later, it was like December 29th, I think it was. Or no, I'm sorry, the day before New Year's Day, they came with the felony cultivation and child abuse charges, and it was just a sheriff handing it to me, the paperwork, and told me to show up at court on a certain date. So
did Rob, you said the child abuse went away at some point. Did they drop that? How did
eventually
that
like I think that happened like on the third day of the court, where the DA got mad several times. You could tell he just got flustered, and he finally was like, I just want to drop it. I don't want to hear no more about this. And you know, the judge was like, Mr. Wainwright, the charge of child abuse has been dropped, and I'm like,
which was a ridiculous charge, a ridiculous charge to charge this man is a good father, he is a good person. I mean, child abuse is not even remotely in the same universe as to what this man did, but you know why they charge people like that? Because juries don't like child abuse, as they shouldn't. I mean, they're
sure.
You say someone's charged with child abuse, the jury is against them from the it's instant they hear that charge, and that was what it was designed to do. It had no basis whatsoever. And, he did dump the charge before the jury even got the charge, which was very interesting because at the beginning, the jury heard the charge, and at the end, magically, wait, what happened to that child abuse charge? And, the prosecutor his mouth is writing checks that his evidence can't cash,
Well, and we could do, and maybe at some point I would love to, employment issues and parenting issues with cannabis. I'd love to get like Rob and Kim Ryan or a good employment attorney in. Those are two hot button issues for patients in general that we've never really talked about, and I wish we had more time to address that. I'm glad that, me being a parent, I'm glad to hear that because it is a scary thing. We all run the risk, even now under current law, of having Department of whatever come in and take our children. What is it? Children and Family. Is that what it's called here in Colorado?
Well, I don't know.
Social Services, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, she was a small little lady compared to all those task force agents that were there raiding me because they were monsters, but I was more afraid of that little lady than I was
Absolutely.
of going to jail or what they were going to do because, she was threatening to take my kids.
Sure.
To me, that was the most scariest thing of the ordeal.
Yep.
So before we're like out of time, we always are. I want you to plug yourself really quickly. I'll push us forward a little bit that you went on with your life. It seems like the way we met, you're active online, you get your word out, you get your voice heard. I'm assuming maybe this might have pushed you a little bit into activism, as I've watched it do with many people who have faced similar ordeals. Kudos for that. We need all the help we can get. We're going to talk off air. I'm going to put you to work.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll take all the free labor I can get. Hey. I make no qualms about admitting that. And again, go ahead and plug what you're doing these days.
Well, I'm doing several things. One, I'm opening up a marijuana-infused product store, and it's called MOTH, which is an acronym for Medicine of the Herb. We target specific ailments and illnesses from arthritis to zits and everything in between. So the salves, we have psoriasis, eczema, creams, lotions, body soaps, hand and foot soaks for arthritis, gout. We just 280 products, medicated products, and 280 non-medicated products, so you can share with your family and friends. And plus, since my court, I've been hired. I guess the term is my first job was a criminal legal consultant. Right now, I'm helping a lawyer in a trial in Adams County in a marijuana and weapons case right now. And I actually am doing what remember that guy that sat next to the DA? Okay,
yep.
Well, I'm
advisory witness.
Okay, so I'm basically doing that for the defense now. So
that's how I got in to your trial, actually. During jury selection, I was family, which was pretty cool. And then I believe I sat up there again one time as an advisory witness. So that's pretty cool to be on that side.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because the fun part gets to come up because now I get because I'm facing North Metro Drug Task Force Agency, and I look just like this when I went to court. And so I made sure I stayed like this, and they're all looking at me like, wait a minute. Why the hell is he here? And I'm over on the defense side,
That's beautiful.
Right on. Well, I met with a legislator yesterday in my new position and made the comment about, we were talking about DUID and profiling. And I said, I've been profiled. I said, I know it's hard to believe, but I've definitely been labeled as a hippie throughout my life. Used to have long hair, as anyone who knows me knows. And he kind of looked at me and he's like, really? Obviously I don't look like that right now. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, it happens. Just because I'm a typical suburban white guy, still happens.
Right.
So, Rick, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me.
We try at least once a month to get a patient or caregiver in to share their story and victory or otherwise. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And you're welcome to hang out. You've seen our pinball machine.
Yeah.
You can go do some dabs and play some pinball.
Right on. That works. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is take our little 10-minute break and get my back right, and we'll be right back on Overgrow the Radio. Peace.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Dispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, Dispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. Dispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover Dispensary. Westside location at 3044 West Colorado and Eastside location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. Dispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
This is Jessica Asplund with the Crested Butte Wellness Center in the Craig Apothecary. I'd like to invite you into either of our locations to see the difference compassion makes. With everything from sublingual tablets, gluten-free products, and a growing variety of edibles, there is sure to be something right for everyone. We carry only top-shelf, organically grown cannabis at affordable prices for everyone. Stop in and see us at our Crested Butte location at 329 Bellevue Avenue or at our Craig location at 611 Breeze Street.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it on grass. runongrass.com.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley Brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Green Monster Glass, a full selection of glass and glass accessories, as well as all of your smoking needs. Stock your dispensary or smoke shop with reasonably priced glass from Green Monster Glass. Green Monster Glass is locally owned and operated. Find us on Facebook or call Daryl at 719-217-5380. That's 719-217-5380. 888-770-5380.
In Dispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, In Dispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. In Dispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover In Dispensary. West Side location at 3044 West Colorado and East Side location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. In Dispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for sticking with us. We are back on Cannabis Radio, Overgrow the Radio. It's been a little bit crazy on our break. Little change of scenery. Crazy. Some beverages came out.
Beverages. Yeah. Alcohol in our studio? No way. It's all good.
Ooh,
I'm kidding.
That's alcohol?
Ooh,
no.
Alcohol? Welcome back to Overgrow the Radio. We got, we got high. Or I did.
I was going to do a radio show, but then I got high.
So that's what we determined. I'm just going to hand the show over to Rob for the rest of the hour.
And now it's goodbye.
And we're going to do bong rips for the next 48 minutes, to be exact. So we're now joined, we're still joined by Rob Corey. He was here for part of the first hour. And the lovely Chloe Villano. How are you, ma'am?
Hello. Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to see you, too.
You've never been on my show.
Not yet.
What the hell's up with that? You don't like me.
I love you. Well, you just moved it to Denver, too.
No, we've always been in Denver.
Really?
I just moved to Denver.
Oh, okay. Well, you
But
just
that's
invited
okay.
me.
I did. We've been trying to get you guys on for a while. We all have busy schedules. Chloe may be one of the busiest people that I've ever met in my life. So.
I've never been invited. I just invite myself.
He does.
I'm going to try that.
I'm about to pitch Rob on a segment. He's here so much, might as well, right? So, you guys, the first thing I want to talk about, and forgive me for not getting you on sooner, I would say that you opened the first legal, you like my disclaimer, legal recreational private club. How did that feel?
It feels good. It feels good to talk about freedom, and it feels even better to live freedom. And, the voters gave us a gift, and we happily accepted it and made history. So it's good.
Well, and I, to add to that.
That did feel good, didn't it?
It did.
I mean, that was like... It was something like everybody there had a little story about like what they stood for, or how they've lived with not being able to be with who they what they are. They don't want to drink all the time, go to normal clubs. They want to just smoke, but the normal pothead has to go home and sit at home. And so it was really cool to see how many people that we inspired.
I've met some of the nicest, most interesting people in my life through marijuana, and this is just part of that.
Isn't that amazing? I posted a status on Facebook, ironically, yesterday about how when I was a kid, all of my elders told me that I would amount to nothing because I used cannabis. If it weren't for cannabis, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and they probably told Barack Obama that too. I mean, he's not just a occasional smoker. When
he was head
in
of
high
the
school.
Shroom Gang.
The Choom Gang.
Choom.
It's documented. He doesn't deny it. I mean, did it hold him back,
Well, that's what he thinks, is he thinks it held him back. But, I mean, if you smoke a pound, Barack, it might hold you back. I mean, we're trying to just
I don't think it did hold him back.
Michael
I think
Phelps.
It literally improved.
I mean, he is the president.
He obviously has talent anyway, and I think marijuana probably enhanced his talent, made him more creative, opened his mind for long term. And, I've stopped, ever since this election of 64, I've stopped saying bad things about the feds because they said nothing about 64. They were hands off the entire time, and they've been hands off.
I didn't even get to that in news tonight because, well, we ramble and always get sidetracked. Her fault. Yeah, right. And, they just came out again this week and said nothing.
Yeah.
We'll have a position at some point.
Well, it was a beautiful, Eric Holder, the U.S. Attorney General, is quite the politician. I mean, he can literally spend 3 hours talking and say nothing. That is a talent. As a lawyer, I respect that degree of talent where you can talk for 3 hours and say literally nothing.
Nothing. That is
brother.
Really,
I do it every Thursday night from 7 to 9.
I know some people who can
I go
too.
To court. But he's Eric Holder has elevated it to an art form. So he comes in there and tells Congress, we will eventually say something about marijuana in Colorado and Washington. And ultimately, I think, Barack Obama is the president. He does run the executive branch. And he himself, the man, Barack, is not offended by marijuana, doesn't believe it's a bad thing, is quite well acquainted with it. I mean, he's never pulled a Bill Clinton, well, I smoked it, but I didn't inhale. And he literally said during the campaign, the point was to inhale. And
yeah, I respected that statement.
He has a chance to be a historical, transformative figure. This is a major chance. Mm-hmm. And I think he takes that chance. I think he does.
I do too. I mean, these are intelligent men. These are the feds here. This is our United States of America government. And I think that they are looking at this not only from a business standpoint, an economical standpoint, and even a moral standpoint. I mean, our war on drugs, our economic situation that we have here, jobs in America, and statistics about not only for medical use, but really, I mean, who's killing each other on weed?
Yeah.
Well, if you sat through our task force process, you would think that people are dying from cannabis. You really would.
Yeah, well, I did sit through a lot of that, and it was pretty disgusting, most of it. We'll see what the task force comes up with. The final recs are yet to come out, but the process was pretty sad. And the fact that they didn't talk about the obvious thing. The obvious thing is there are still people in prison right now as we sit here in this world where it's legal. At the same time we enjoy those freedoms, which are wonderful things, there are people incarcerated for what we're doing.
And they're not allowed to be in this business because they've already been in trouble in this business before when the laws were different.
Oh, that's even worse.
So here's where I get your opinion. I mean, as you guys know, I brought that up, and I said all along that I was in the wrong group. My group got along. We agreed on everything. I should have been in consumer safety or criminal law. And I believe criminal law is where I brought that up. And unfortunately, all you get, is your 2 minutes of public comment, whether you're on a work group or not. I really think a big flaw in that process was just that we couldn't have conversations between groups and coordinate things. And
the whole task force, I mean, let's think about it. All right. The governor appointed every single member of the task force. The governor was against Amendment 64. Not only did he vote against it, he cut radio ads against it, and the night we won, and by the way, we got more votes than Barack Obama did in Colorado. I will say that until I'm dead, because it'll never change. No matter what happens, we got more votes than Barack Obama. Nobody can take that away from us ever. So, at the end of it, Hickenlooper makes fun of us. He makes this stupid comment about Cheetos and goldfish. So this guy he's been the opponent of 64 the entire time. He appoints every single member of this task force. Of course he's going to appoint it against 64. He appointed me, and I'm the biggest prohibitionist out there. I mean...
But you think he would have been smarter and actually took pride in developing a new system and being the first system ever developed? And that's like, I've always given people the benefit of the doubt, but that was just, it was just a really...
That's your mistake.
Well,
it was a mistake because congratulations, you just created the largest black market we've seen in a long, long time.
What a perfect segue. I haven't told you guys, and I'll let you share opinions if you'd like to. I registered as a lobbyist. Rob knows that, I think, already. But and that's one of the things that I'm working on, besides the DUID, is getting the caregivers into the model and working on diversion and trying to really correct a lot of the things that we're addressing right here. I think, to the governor's credit, I really am going to a point, I promise. I caught him, well, on a quick side note, you'll appreciate this, at the last task force meeting, all of the task force members had goldfish and Cheetos waiting on them.
Now, see, I didn't hate on that. That was actually, I think, him trying to do something nice
Funny.
for once.
Yeah,
and I think with his dry sense of humor, I would have probably cracked a smile and just let that go. And I don't think we should hate on him for that. We should hate on him for putting together the task force and not making it fair.
Well, yeah,
I mean, Cedarburg pulled as hard as he could for us. But in a lot of ways, I mean, he was alone. And same with Meg.
There were a few of us sprinkled throughout, but it was so heavily stacked against us to try to get anything done at all. My proposal that went through, it was one of my biggest achievements in my life because it went through, and it shouldn't have been that way. I did a proposal against Greenwood Village, against their ban, that passed my group unanimously, then got fizzled at the next level. But that should have been a no-brainer, I guess. And had we had folks like you and Rob, it would have been. I think you're exactly right. To implement this, we needed more people that actually knew what was going on or have been involved in what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the members on this task force have no clue about marijuana. They weren't involved at all with medical marijuana. They're prohibitionists. They're entitled to their opinion, but they're 45% of the population and probably 80% of the task force. So naturally, the results of this task force are going to be skewed to the prohibitionist view, and we're going to have to stop it. And as a lobbyist, as you know, we can have some effect on the legislature, and I'm going to be down there to the extent I can, and we're going to be arguing with these legislators about this, and I hope they... we're asking for pretty modest things. I mean, if we can get rid of this vertical integration, which is a total failure, no other industry has that. We need to have individual wholesale growers who are not tied to retailers because, and the bottom line is, if you want an excise tax, you better have pure wholesalers. Otherwise, there won't be an excise tax because you can't tax a transfer from the same entity.
There's no way that we're going to be able to grow enough weed in 2014, just the medical centers alone, right now, to serve enough, you have the smile on your face, to serve enough recreational users, much less.
Well, that's...
To say they have to grow... They're already so scared to turn from medical to recreational anyway. I mean, so you're telling me that all these millions of people are allowed to have it, but they're not allowed to get together and smoke it together because, God forbid, they screw up the air. They're not allowed to buy it, and they're not allowed to sell it. And so hardly anyone's allowed to grow it because I'm the one who does the mergers and acquisitions in this business, and I can tell you right now that we're going to need a little bit more grow space and a shitload of more power.
Well, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up because the big argument through this whole process was diversion. Because, we're going to have all this cannabis laying around that's just going to be diverted.
Please.
I don't think these people realize that we just became the new Amsterdam. Not only that, but I'll go a step further and say we're better. Number one, we have better product. I've said that forever. But we can carry an extra, 23 grams? Isn't it 5 grams in Amsterdam?
And it's really, honestly, it's not legal in Amsterdam.
Right.
It's just tolerated. I mean, here it actually is legal under our laws of our state.
Well,
so
and
we're better than Amsterdam, and you're right. We have better weed. We always have, but now it's going to surface. It's going to be known worldwide. If you're going to have diversion is going to be people coming to Colorado, spending their money here, renting hotel rooms here, stimulating the economy here. It's going to be a beautiful thing unless the government screws it up for us, which they may do. I don't think they're going to get away with it. I do think that the right and just will prevail.
I think the feds will be kept at bay. To digress a little bit, I wanted to give you guys some positive news with the governor. After the task force meeting, I actually followed him out and had a good 10-minute conversation with him. I caught him after his media interview, shook his hand like a good lobbyist, handed him my card, and engaged him and called him out on the reefer madness that he stood there and said, he talked about a couple things. He talked about
more homeless teenagers.
Exactly.
What was that?
I have no idea where that even came
propaganda.
from. I'm pretty sure he was on acid that day. I really am. No offense, Governor Hickenlooper.
He's drinking too much Hickenlooper beer.
It's the fracking water. It's got to be. And the other thing, there were a few things, but one of them was brain development in teens, and that's one that always gets me, considering the federal government has a frickin' patent for a neuroprotectant, for cannabis as a neuroprotectant. So apparently the feds have no idea what they're talking about, and they just got some frivolous patent for that for no reason. So anyway, positive stuff on the governor. I followed him out. We had this conversation. And, at the end of it, he's really good. I've talked to him a few times in my life, and he's one of those used car salesmen where he's good at smiling and nodding and nicing you away. And we actually engaged each other during the conversation. And I said, well, I'd love to provide you with studies and information and continue the conversation. Absolutely. So his head of advance, which I'm assuming is Secret Service, basically, gave me his card, and we emailed back and forth. I don't know what he is, to be honest. Long story short, I'm meeting with the governor's people on Tuesday to quote-unquote lobby them on the DUID legislation. So,
nice.
I know it's been a hardline stance from his office. The recommendation that came out of the task force, I was pissed about.
I mean, it's ridiculous if you're a child. Like, what if you accidentally eat a weed brownie and you're unhigh, but 2 weeks later it's still in your system, so you're going to get a full-blown out T. I mean, the fact that you could prosecute innocent people, our government should be taking that more serious, but obviously, they're spending money on drones, and, I don't really think they care.
There is so much wrong with the DUID legislation. I have a hard time picking my argument every day.
Well, I think they feel like that's the way to control it. Like, nobody will be on the roads getting hurt, even though most of the people who get pulled over and you smell weed or, have weed on them are prosecuted.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the bill is just wrong. The bill would take, in America, you are presumed innocent. Okay, under this bill, you are presumed guilty, literally.
That's
true.
You
walk into court, you're presumed guilty. All right. In America, you should be, innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecutor has to prove that. Here, under this bill, you have to prove a negative. You have to prove I was not stoned. How do you do that? How does that happen? The only way that happens is for a person to take the stand. So this bill destroys the right to remain silent that most defendants wisely exercise in their trial. Most of my people don't testify. They don't need to.
Sure.
We have the evidence already to exonerate them. And if they do testify, all they do is they look defensive because they're the defendant. Of course they're going to look defensive. So this bill destroys... It's so much larger than marijuana. It destroys basic American principles of presumed innocent and the right to remain silent. Mm-hmm. And it's completely unnecessary because right now already people are charged for marijuana DUI, and unfortunately, more often than not, they are convicted because the government actually has evidence. What a radical concept! They have to have evidence to prove you guilty. Under this bill, they don't have to have any evidence. All they have to have is a blood test. It's insane.
And we're going to talk about this more. We got to take a quick break. Yeah, it is insane, and it's scary. And we'll be right back on Overgrow the Radio. Peace.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals' all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
This is Jessica Asplund with the Crested Butte Wellness Center in the Craig Apothecary. I'd like to invite you into either of our locations to see the difference compassion makes. With everything from sublingual tablets, gluten-free products, and a growing variety of edibles, there is sure to be something right for everyone. We carry only top-shelf, organically grown cannabis at affordable prices for everyone. Stop in and see us at our Crested Butte location at 329 Bellevue Avenue or at our Craig location at 611 Breeze Street.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Green Monster Glass, a full selection of glass and glass accessories, as well as all of your smoking needs. Stock your dispensary or smoke shop with reasonably priced glass from Green Monster Glass. Green Monster Glass is locally owned and operated. Find us on Facebook or call Daryl at 719-217-5380. That's 719-217-5380.
Interested in the amazing benefits of CBD? Check out Dixie X Hemp CBD Wellness Products at www.dixiex.com.
In Dispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, In Dispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. In Dispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover In Dispensary. West Side location at 3044 West Colorado and East Side location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. In Dispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
And we're back again on iCannabis Radio with, everyone. Rob and Chloe, Stickman and Sam.
Everybody who's cool. I love it when my guests are over there debating amongst each other. It's great. So I want you to ask me that question that you were just talking about locked and enclosed.
All right. Well, 64 says you can grow, but it has to be locked and enclosed. My view is you can have a chain link fence that's locked, and it's enclosed in a chain link fence.
And I would agree.
And I'm a
I would
drafter
say
of 64. I drafted the measure, or helped to. I'm a framer of the Constitution. I think I can say what it means.
Exactly.
I would say so. I think you're qualified.
Senator Vicky Marble in our last meeting brought that point up. Why aren't we talking to the drafters? And I tried to express your voice because I know all you guys. I know the people who wrote 64. I know the intent was not what it came out. The recommendation that came out of the task force was if you have an outdoor grow, it has to be in a greenhouse and or shed, an enclosed building that's locked. I don't think that's right. And then indoor grow even, they're saying you have to keep the room locked that your grow's in.
Yeah, and there's got to be some common sense. All right, this is a crop. This is an agricultural crop. Growing inside has a lot of advantages. It's great. I love the indoor stuff. That's the majority of what happens. But it doesn't have to be exclusively indoors, and there's nothing in here, let me just put it in a very common sense way. If we wanted to require indoors in 64, you know what we would have said? Indoors. Pretty simple concept, right? We didn't say that. We said enclosed and locked, which means you can have enclosed and locked outdoors. It's not that complicated. And, this task force, obviously, I'm sure they worked hard and all that, but they don't own 64. Nobody owns 64. It is a constitutional provision. Nobody owns the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It is what it is. It applies to all of us.
It's the people's.
It is. And nobody gets to say exclusively what it means and what it doesn't mean. And that's the flaw, I think, of and Hickenlooper is a very cagey politician. He appoints this task force with much fanfare, and it's the oldest political trick in the book. He stacks it, 80% against us.
At least.
And prohibitionists, people who made their living off of prohibition, outnumber the freedom lovers like us on there, and then we care what this non-binding task force says? I don't think we do.
Well, and absolutely, that's just it. It is non-binding. My hope is that from this process they do take the good recommendations, and that I'm able as a lobbyist to get rid of the others.
What about the tax? I mean, okay, so we're going to let's say we're doing 15% retail tax over the counter. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just round it off to $200 an ounce, which I don't know many people who get that much, but say they do. What's that, Rob? $30 right off the top, huh? 16 ounces, what you're doing, huh?
Right from the pocketbooks of the consumers. And I mean,
but you're lucky because you get the wholesale to yourself, and you get a break on the wholesale tax. But isn't the wholesale tax 25%?
That's the proposal.
And Rob can help me.
So that would be $800 on like a pound, and $480 off every ounce on retail. So with over $1,200 a pound in taxes, how could you afford to stay in business? And I think it's kind of
that
make you like sorry you voted for vertical integration when you heard that. You know?
Actually, we designed it this way. All right, if the government squeezes too hard on the licensed retail side of this, then the unregulated, unlicensed individual freedom market will step up and meet that demand. And that is basic economics. The government can do a lot. They cannot repeal the laws of supply and demand. They can't.
Absolutely.
So they want to charge us a 25% excise tax, a 15% sales tax, plus the normal 8% sales tax anyway. 25 plus 15 plus 8, that's a 48% tax.
Well, and I don't think that's going to fly.
It won't. It will not happen.
And forgive me, I actually missed that portion of the meeting. I didn't know that it got through the main task force, the extra tax. I thought it got shot down.
I mean, overtaxing this industry, the one thing he said was, you said 40 million to schools, and Christian said, well, that's to build up to. We said it would be up to this much percent. I think that goes to show something, we should never, ever throw out the first number.
Yeah.
Next time, we should let them come at us, because whatever we give them, they're going to take.
Here's something else to think about, too. I mean, if the government wants to guarantee that it collects less tax revenue, then put vertical integration in there, because then the retailer owns the grower and vice versa. So there is no excise tax. If it's the same entity that grows and retails, zero excise tax, because you can't tax an entity transfer of it within an entity. So the government just cheated itself out of millions of dollars in order to propagate this monopolistic system. And bring it on, folks. That is such an easy softball that they're going to toss our way, and we're going to hit it out of the park in front of the legislature.
A mutual friend of ours just brought that to my attention, and you're absolutely right. It does not work. As you know, I'm not a proponent of straight vertical integration. We came up with a great hybrid model, and one person whined and cried until somehow that completely. We had, at one point, the work group it was in had unanimous support for the hybrid, except for one. And somehow that one person changed everyone's mind. The rest of us cried because there was nothing we could do about it. But now we can do stuff about it because it is at the legislative level. And I think, you're exactly right. It's not feasible. It's not legal for them to implement it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, it won't happen. It won't happen because we have this guaranteed safety valve of individuals exercising our own freedoms. They can't be stopped. And the largest dispensary in the world, in the entire world, is Harborside, which is a nonprofit member-owned collective, at least on paper. IRS is trying to claim otherwise, has not proven otherwise. So you want to overregulate the retail model? Well, I've already set up nonprofit member-owned collectives. I've set up 24 of them right now under 64. They are operating. They're up and running. They're doing very well. They're serving a lot of people. And, you want to guarantee that I set up another 500 of these things? Well, squeeze hard on the regulated side, tax it 50%. 50%.
You're going to be doing good business.
I mean, I never thought that would happen, but I guess.
I mean, it's like book smart, street smarts, but it's common sense. And they looked at the street side of it. God forbid we let that happen. Let's look at the book smart side of it. Okay, we're going to take it for all we can. But when it came to the common sense of how can the system work, it was just like the most unrealistic expectations for actually putting together. I mean, even bars. Mm-hmm. Like, why wouldn't you want these people to hang out together and socialize and be in a safe place and, keep crime off the streets and... you still can give them DUIs. I mean, it's called a new industry. It's a business, but everyone's so scared.
Well, to go back real quick to vertical integration, since we got way off on that, it's it's cool. I like the topic. It's fun.
It's true.
For people real quick who are listening, who don't know, vertical integration means that from seed to sale, it has to be one owner. Layman's terms, and that right now under medical we have a 70-30 model, which means they have to grow 70% of their product and they can buy wholesale 30%. I think, and I want to get your opinion before
which
we move
is totally
on.
Unenforced.
MMED,
you should have MMED on your Stickman.
I bet I could work that out.
They would come on here and they would say literally 70-30. We don't enforce it. We can't enforce it. It's utter economic illiteracy, which is why we designed Amendment 64 so the Department of Revenue promulgates these regulations. It expressly says that the legislature, unfortunately, really has no power to promulgate these regulations. I mean, that's explicit in 64. So, they can go ahead and pass whatever bills they want. Those bills won't have the force of law because 64 doesn't empower them to do that.
Well, and a prime example of what you just mentioned, MMED, Laura Harris, who heads MMED for folks out of state, that's our medical marijuana enforcement division that it enforces, air quotes, our regulation here in Colorado. She actually voted against most everything regulation related. I think, she's seen with medical what overregulation did and doesn't want to follow that path. I think with a lot of these folks, there were good intentions. Some of them came from people I least expected, like Laura Harris. There were a couple representatives through the process that really stepped up and were warriors, if you will, for us. So
and let's name names. I mean, who is the biggest disappointment? MMIG, which is not an actual group. MMIG is a front for a single dispensary, River Rock.
Sure.
A dispensary that, by the way, I am ashamed to say I started. I represented that dispensary. They don't exist without me. I created a monster. That dispensary owns MMIG. They're a wholly owned subsidiary of it. MMIG has no members except for that one dispensary, and it uses a nonprofit political arm as a cover to avoid taxation, but that's their problem, not my problem.
I never knew that, Rob. Yeah. That you started. Oh.
It's true.
When I testified,
and when they release their membership list, maybe we can talk about it. But they're not transparent. So they're all about propagating their own monopoly, which is an interesting issue because our industry has all of a sudden started behaving like many other industries, going to the government and asking the government to enforce its own monopoly so it can jack prices up and screw the consumer and overcharge us. I mean, that is the bottom line. And they're not even subtle about hiding their motivation to jack up prices.
Well, and
they'll come right out and say it. We need higher prices.
I mean, it was Norton. I will give Mike Elliott credit on a lot of the issues during the process. Norton, I won't. Norton was there until we got vertical integration. Then he was never at another meeting. You didn't see him anymore. He accomplished his goal. He was done.
Well, and the difference is this, like if you compete on the open market and you sell a better product at a better price, I'm all for that. That's America. But what MMIG/River Rock does is it says it wants to go to the government and say, government, stop any competition from competing with me. Let me shut the door behind myself, and the government will do that for me, and therefore I can attempt to dominate the market. Now, what's really going to happen is they're not going to dominate the market. Their quality is already poor, and already people are leaving the single dispensary that wholly owns MMIG, and they purport to speak for the industry, and then they use this federal boogeyman to justify overregulation. I mean, they come in and say, unless we overregulate this, the feds are going to come in with no citation whatsoever. The feds have not said that. They've said nothing of the sort. You know, so I think they really need to think this through and long term think about what they're doing to themselves, because ultimately they're going to be the first to drop off in this system that they are trying to propagate.
Absolutely. We're gonna, when we come back on our last segment, I actually want to talk with you guys real quick about the feds and your feelings on that in general. And just to add to that, you know, they exactly what you said. MMIG argued that they were representing the industry, which I took offense to, because what you again just said, that they're not public. We don't know how many members they have. You know, I do represent a very transparent group out of Colorado Springs in southern Colorado, and I would consider us one of the biggest industry groups out there. Unfortunately, we don't get the representation MMIG has, and that's a big reason why I went and ordered my little name tag and why I'm running around downtown now. So we'll do our best to counter that. I think there is hope in the legislative level. I've seen it already. I've got allies in getting rid of vertical integration. So I guarantee we'll make progress. We'll be right back on Overgrow the Radio. Peace.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
This is Jessica Asplund with the Crested Butte Wellness Center in the Craig Apothecary. I'd like to invite you into either of our locations to see the difference compassion makes. With everything from sublingual tablets, gluten-free products, and a growing variety of edibles, there is sure to be something right for everyone. We carry only top-shelf, organically grown cannabis at affordable prices for everyone. Stop in and see us at our Crested Butte location at 329 Bellevue Avenue or at our Craig location at 611 Breeze Street.
Interested in the amazing benefits of CBD? Check out Dixie X Hemp CBD Wellness Products at www.dixiex.com. Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Green Monster Glass, a full selection of glass and glass accessories, as well as all of your smoking needs. Stock your dispensary or smoke shop with reasonably priced glass from Green Monster Glass. Green Monster Glass is locally owned and operated. Find us on Facebook or call Daryl at 719-217-5380. That's 719-217-5380.
And I think we're back on Overgrow the Radio. I was going to let Elizabeth come back on that one, but I think she was all like off in her space. It's all good.
I had to recenter.
Well, we pissed our attorney off and kicked him out of the show. No, I'm kidding. He'll be back in just a few. We're still here with Miss Villano. How are you, ma'am?
I'm very well. How are you?
Oh, well, you know, I'm here. I'm doing good. How's Rudy?
He's
I didn't
good.
even ask you. And I should explain that Rudy's your little four-legged son, right?
Yes, he is. He's doing wonderful. He's awesome.
And he's not spoiled at all.
No, not at all. Just perfect.
So we are running pretty short on time. Again, just to kind of finish off that last little segment, we do have hope. I don't think vertical integration will make it through the legislative process, and I guarantee if I have anything to do with it, it won't. So,
amen.
And
let freedom ring.
Absolutely, brother.
Let new people come in and have hope of starting a new business.
Let 1,000 flowers bloom.
So I'm going to bring up some animosity that was brought to me recently. And I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. Well, you're an attorney, and I know you are very good at debating and arguing. So you guys, as I said, you opened the first legal private club. And since that time, there's been a few spring up, both here in Denver and down in the Springs. And
we love imitators.
Sure, absolutely.
We got a lot of them.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's how we choose to take it, for sure.
That's how we roll.
Because it's like that. So somebody, for some random reason, like I had a post the other day that had nothing to do with you or Chloe, either one, or any club, I don't believe, for that matter. And I won't mention names, but one of the club owners got on and started bashing you guys, and I'm like, really, why? Well, they sell alcohol, and that's bad, and they should, just blah, blah, blah. My short answer to his, and then I'll let you guys respond. My short answer to him was, well, for years now, I've been to events at Castleman's, the Oriental, where it's been both cannabis and alcohol. I would estimate hundreds of events at this point have had both cannabis and alcohol. Surely at some point someone probably will die, but we can't police that. We can't police people that come into our state. And
we're all going to die, Stick.
We are.
But they're not going to die from the marijuana.
Yeah,
exactly.
The bad choices maybe, but not marijuana.
The few substances.
I just want to get your response to that because Colorado Springs, and I respect the view that they're trying to keep alcohol separate. That's their thing. Go for it. But I think it's perfectly fine to have alcohol and cannabis. I mean, what would you guys respond to that?
I've got a two-part response to that,
sure.
and I'm sure my business partner here will have a more diplomatic way of putting it. But my two-part response is, part one, if you're anonymous and you don't have the balls to put your name to any comment, then I barely believe that I should deign to respond to you.
Casey Stark. He's public. He was on
Who's
Facebook.
That? I've never heard of him.
It's, what's he own?
I haven't either.
Yeah. Studio A64, which is almost similar.
Good for him. Well, I'm glad he imitated us. And then, the second part of my response is, if you don't like our Club 64, then don't come. I mean, it's that simple. This is a free country. You have every right not to come to our club. And by the way, he's not welcome at our club because it's members only. And he violated rule number 1, which is do not criticize Club 64 publicly. You can criticize it privately all you want. Talk to me to my face.
We don't want haters there.
Yeah, we don't. But if you have a problem with it, put your name to it and talk to me to my face. Don't post on the internet. I mean, that's
Rob goes into court and fights for weed.
Yeah, anyone
you can't just do a private anonymous. Think he's going to care?
A gutless piece of human garbage. And so, if he wants to talk to me in person, bring it on. I'm happy to listen to you. And I'm glad you imitated our idea, and I hope you succeed. I do, but you're not welcome at our club. And if you don't like our club, then don't come. Personally, I'm not offended by alcohol. Alcohol prohibition was a horrible policy. And it's good that it's over. And marijuana prohibition was a horrible policy, and it's good that it's over. If you want to come to our club and use both, you're welcome to. If you want to come to our club and use one of the two, you're welcome to. If you want to come to our club and use neither, you're welcome to. And a lot of people do. Sure. And it's just, we're about freedom and this judgmental kind of thing from our own.
That's what's so hard for us. Me and Rob could not understand this. For as much as we have fought on the ground floor, I mean, how the only opposition that we have received has been from our own industry.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Not from the cops.
I know.
Not from the feds. It's been from our own industry.
Well, I finished.
You guys shouldn't smoke together. You guys shouldn't have alcohol. You shouldn't have this. I mean, it's been like.
I thought our big opposition was going to be, John Suthers, Attorney General.
Me too.
This cop, the North Metro Drug Task Force, or the U.S. Justice Department.
Should be ashamed of yourself.
The whole prohibition industry. Those people are silent about our club. I mean, they're all about our club. They understand the need for our club because there are people who shouldn't be smoking at home around their kids and wives and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Our club gives them a safe, legal outlet for their passions.
Well, and might I just add that Stickman and guest, who did I take? I think I took one of our other producers because he had longer hair and he was prettier. He almost looked like I had a girl with me. You
better watch out. You're going to get hated on.
Right? You guys, you invited us down, gave us the full VIP treatment, and I had a blast. We watched the Super Bowl with you. Everything was mellow. No one died. There were no fights. Everything, again, maybe... you think of bars, you think of alcohol, and there's fights. Maybe you add that cannabis in, and it calms that down.
It should, but I am passionate about this. And when our own side of this movement is criticizing my club and they have no basis for it. I mean, the arguments they make are ridiculous. I do take that personally. I do care what people think about our club. This is a good club. It's a positive thing. And by the way, our next party is going to be a St. Patty's Day party on March 17th, which is a Sunday. And we're going to debut a green beer, a truly green beer, THC beer.
Nice.
Which, yet again, America's first, making history. We expect imitators, and we welcome imitators. And there will be many.
He was screaming green beer. I had to hold it out here for St. Patty's Day. He was so excited.
I'm just going to be a hater. I don't want to be an imitator. I'll just be a hater.
Yeah.
They should be there. I mean, this industry worked so hard. It was so connected at one time. And now, because everybody wants to hate on everybody, we're going to have all kinds of, you won't be there drinking the green beer. That's what's going to happen to you if you're a hater.
And we're running quickly out of time. I do want to plug your next event.
We'll drink it.
So what's the date on that?
March 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
Time? Do we have time and location, or should we keep our eyes open?
No, we'll let you know.
Location to be released.
Announced.
Yeah. Members only.
This is a private membership club. Not everybody can be a part of this club.
Am I a member now?
Not everybody is worthy, but you meet the standard.
It means you have to fill out.
As do all your friends in this room.
I would say.
Sweet.
I would say
it is fun.
Pretty qualified.
So maybe this time I'll bring Elizabeth because she's a real girl.
And most of the photos we put on our website are actual real photos from our parties, unlike some clubs that just put stock photos.
Photos of our parties or our media on theirs and say that they're Club 64.
Yeah.
Well, guys, before we run out of time, I want to thank you guys for coming in. We always get sidetracked and we never cover everything we mean to, but we'll have you back in like 6 months when the three of us can get our schedules to congeal again. We'll make it happen.
So many words, so little time.
Yeah. On that note, I just want to close out tonight, by thanking Elizabeth, who was quiet because we talked too much and she got all intimidated.
I'll just hang out.
Don't forget the symposium.
The symposium coming up. Would you like to plug it?
March 21st at Castleman's. It's going to be a post task force. So we're going to have all of the attorneys back up there. It's going to be really amazing.
Cool.
Lot to say.
And next time you're going to change the night so Stickman can attend one instead of a Thursday night. But I want to end by just talking about unity. I guess 4 years ago or so, founded Overgrow the Government. And the whole premise and principle of that was to go to D.C., to take off the hats and coats of our organizations for one day and stand together. I stayed out of Denver for a long, long time when I first moved here because of infighting, because of lack of unity. I since think that's getting better. I think the only way for us to move forward nationwide, worldwide, not just here locally, is to practice unity. We may hate each other, we may have our differences, we may not like alcohol, but we have to hug it out and get through this together. If we don't stand together, we will all fall individually. Until next week, go out there and hug a cannabis activist. And do me a favor, pick one that you don't like. We love you. Peace.
Green Monster Glass. A full selection of glass and glass accessories, as well as all of your smoking needs. Stock your dispensary or smoke shop with reasonably priced glass from Green Monster Glass. Green Monster Glass is locally owned and operated. Find us on Facebook or call Daryl at 719-217-5380. That's 719-217-5380.
This is Jessica Asplund with the Crested Butte Wellness Center in the Craig Apothecary. I'd like to invite you into either of our locations to see the difference compassion makes. With everything from sublingual tablets, gluten-free products, and a growing variety of edibles, there is sure to be something right for everyone. We carry only top-shelf, organically grown cannabis at affordable prices for everyone. Stop in and see us at our Crested Butte location at 329 Bellevue Avenue or at our Craig location at 611 Breeze Street.
Interested in the amazing benefits of CBD? Check out Dixie X Hemp CBD Wellness Products at www.dixiex.com. Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.